that's the best we're gonna allow you to do.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, these two teams haven't played before. And, you know, they're right next to each other, 6 and 7. So, University of Delaware probably wants to try to, especially since it's their last game, they want to try to move that rank just a little bit to get to that 6th position. So, we will see if, you know, they end the season with a bang, or, you know, if St. Petersburg continues on and gets the win under their belt. But it does look like both of these teams are going to go with more of that dive meta, with St. Petersburg having a little bit of that hybrid there. So we will see how, you know, St. Peter's University deals with, you know, that Sigma coming in, Shadow.
Yeah, and with that Sigma on the field, it's going to give you a little bit of point presence for St. Peter's University, whereas in Delaware, the dive is going to be much more focused on kind of collapsing onto Milk's hack. Able to find a target here in the mid-fight, but right now just kind of a speckle onto the point. Savix is able to find the first kill onto the Brig, and for St. Peter's University, that does a big detriment to your ability to kind of live on point. The rest of your team playing around for mobility and picks, but you're going to be able to lose your healer as well. So no support line left for St. Peter's University at all. University of Delaware doing a good job kind of dwindling them down before they lose a couple to the DPS line of St. Peter's. Rig still in the fight now on this Tracer and just hasn't been dealt with. There you go. Already going to go ahead and be like, I'm a little bit tired of this Tracer in my back line, so they're going to take them out, and Delaware will get the first point control here as long as they can deal with that pesky Nacho as they're able to do so.
Yeah, cleanup coming in, and Milk already almost at that EMP, but St. Peter's having that dupe coming in with Blob, that can be that go button that they're wanting right now, especially on these control maps. Nobody has that spawn advantage, so we're looking for a pick. We're looking for an ultimate to go in with that green light.
And a beautiful pick from Riggs to start things off. The pulse bomb doesn't really land, but you are not too you're not too worried about that right now. What you need to be worried about is milking your back line with an EMP, but doesn't opt for the EMP. The single hack is all they need. The kills coming through for the University of Delaware puts St. Peter's into a bit of a tricky spot, as they're going to have to give up point control, or what little control they were able to build up on the point before they could take it over.
You know, thankfully they do have these ults coming up. Nacho has the mines, a really good ult to really get this space. And you know what? Riggs coming in with the kill onto the D.Va, so hopefully that'll be the green light that St. Peter's needs to get onto point right now.
And Riggs has been able to secure this opening kill multiple times, but we've seen University of Delaware kind of recoil, wait for the attack, and respond accordingly. You see that hack coming through from Milk after St. Peter's commits a lot of utility, so it's going to give them the upper hand here in the fight, and the Primal Rage off of Blob looks to change things up. Beating up the Winston into the back line, but the Echo is going to go down before the Winston can die, so the mines on point are going to be doing most of the work here for St. Peter's University. Nacho's able to find 3 kills, the Hammond going crazy and, well, rolling with the flow, if you will. Self-destruct from Bordy, going to find a consolation kill onto Rez to Lucio, able to keep things alive. Boot for University of Delaware on the point. So Bordy looking to work in tandem with that Lucio to keep the stall alive for the respawns for Delaware, to keep this stall up to at least 99%, so you can put it into one fight territory. The Gravitic Flux from Rez, as well as the Nano from Sellout Squad, have potential to change things, but not before we see that 99%.
Yeah, they are still fighting it out right now with the University of Delaware coming out on top right now. They are in this last fight territory.
Oh.
Rez coming in with the flux, but it doesn't look like it'll be enough right now.
The hack from Milk to stop that Gravitic Flux was absolutely crucial. The University of Delaware retaining map control here. The Echo will come through from Blob, but there's plenty of members from Delaware there on the point to focus down the Primal Raging Winston. So a bit of a distraction, a bit of a contest for a little bit longer, but not able to really keep presence. And Delaware doing a really good job of dealing with the dive that St. Peter's is bringing. They're okay with getting a pick here and there, as long as they keep their core members alive.
I really hit the nail on the head with that comment with Delaware just really doing a good job at kiting back, pulling back when St. Peter's comes in with the abilities or the ults, trying to keep the team alive, and then they go in after their cooldowns are up and the team has been healed, and they're doing a really good job at taking the damage and putting the damage out here. So hopefully St. Peter's, excuse me, sorry folks, comes in and has a little bit more of a ground coming in for this next fight.
I like seeing South Squad onto the Moira instead of the Brig. A little bit more maneuverability there, and the burst healing is really going to come in handy. But Boop is quick to delete Riggs from the game completely, so St. Peter's going to be starting this fight off to a deficit as Delaware takes a page out of St. Peter's University's book, using that Brig in these kind of brawl situations kind of combined with your dive. So Boop is going to die, but it's okay. The point control is still pretty heavily in favor of University of Delaware as they play around this point, but Riggs back into the fight. It's going to change things as Blobs find a pick. McCree turning the scales back into St. Peter's favor. And it's now up to Nachos to deal with the D.Va, able to do so pretty handily. Just going to leave the baby D.Va to the DPS. Not too difficult to clean up. And St. Peter's going to change the tail here on the second point.
And the ult's coming in line for St. Peter's. Having Nachos have the Primal as well as the High Noon and Pulse. Those are going to be really important ults coming in to keep the point control in for St. Peter's right now. University of Delaware, though, has that bomb coming in. That could be a really good green light to take the space that they need to get in on the point.
But with that Deadeye, kind of just sitting in wait from Blob, it's going to be key for Bordy to keep themselves attentive. Aggressive's a bit more of a word they want to use here today. Isn't going to be able to block out the Deadeye, but able to take the Mercy out of the fight prior to that engagement. However, with nobody contesting the McCree on the high ground, it's going to give Blob so much free reign and free damage to help St. Peter's win this fight and keep this point.
Yeah, that high ground is so important right now, and what Delaware needs is to really take that high ground away from Blob. Ice coming down as well as Blob, but we have the grabs coming up. Rez coming in with the grab really close to it, so it's going to be all about Boop's rally coming in to hopefully sustain the team to push in onto this point right now.
Savage trying to get something done on this Hammond and hasn't really been able to be, I wouldn't say too effective, but the mobility of St. Peter's has made it quite difficult for the Hammond to get a lot of value out of both that pile drive and the shields. So the coalescence is going to have to come out from St. Peter's University just to make sure that nobody from Delaware gets the freedom to go anywhere. Milk falls to the Deadeye there at the very end as Blob continues to find kills, and Delaware are kept at bay by a minefield. The Transcendent's going to do a good job of getting them into the point. But with control percentage already at 91% for St. Peter's University, you're pretty much okay with giving up this point. You know, take it back to spawn, you've got ultimates, bring it back and see what you can get.
Yeah, 100%. University of Delaware utilizing a lot of ults to even get onto that point right now. Only ones they're really close to are Milk's Pulse Bomb and Bordy's Bomb, but St. Peter's having all the ults that they want right now. Grab, what a strong combination with Grab, Pulse coming with Rez and Riggs. So if they're able to get that big grab, this could be a turnaround very quickly in favor of St. Peter's University.
Big Bang's going to be a big play if they're able to put it together, and for Delaware, you just got to milk it out a little bit. Get some of these ultimates online, and then your stall is going to get a little bit more rowdy, or maybe Bordy's able to come in and eat something big. So Blob able to find that opening kill. The quick trade comes out, but Blob's still in a tear. Ice able to find the tank line for St. Peter's University as it's just a couple of DPS and some healers, but Blob in the back line with the Deadeye able to find Boot. So that's going to put St. Peter's into a pretty good spot as they're going to have to leave Savix basically to their own defenses. Off on the edge, self-destruct on point, easily avoided. Flashbang to the Hammond, isn't able to find anything, but stuck by Milk. The Tracer still has a chance to bring this around, or at least stall out long enough for the respawns to get back into the fight and make a change, but both going to get taken down by St. Peter's University as they roll through together. Just have to deal with the Brig, and the Graviton's going to seal the deal here for St. Peter's. They'll take the second point, and we go to 3 here on control.
Ooh, yeah, a little bit of a celebratory grab coming in at the end there. But great back and forth right now. You could definitely tell both of the teams are definitely wanting to, University of Delaware wants to end it off on a good note and hopefully get that rank 6 spot. But we are on University. I'm thinking that we might see a little bit more of a brawl comp coming in for this point, as it does look like University of Delaware are changing to mix that a little bit. ISO coming in with the Doomfist. We've seen such strong play coming in from Blob, so I'm questioning that pick a little bit, especially since, that flashbang is just a big counter for Doomfist. So we'll see if Ice is able to really get into the back line of St. Peter's and come out on top with this CPS line. And
this is such a good map for Doomfist. You add the Reaper into the mix, and now The McCree is going to be caught with 2 DPS that can get behind him or get position on him pretty easily, so that flashbang is going to have a pretty split attention span. And for Delaware, they're running the Lucio. St. Peter's isn't. Look at how quickly Delaware are able to get onto the point, and St. Peter's have to look at that composition and kind of back out to spawn and reapproach the situation with a bit of a better handle, but they're going to give control over. And that's the most important thing for University of Delaware.
Yep, 100%.
Initial fight's going to break out, nice into the back line. We'll be able to find Cell Squad, but there's the McCree to capitalize on those cooldowns. Ice not able to escape, so it's going to be up to Blob to kind of reconcile and take the second DPS out of contention. He's able to scare the Reaper away for just a little bit as Milk has to reposition. Deadeye now online for Blob pretty early in the fight. Needs to find the right positioning in order to pump it out, but an amplification matrix coming out of University of Delaware is going to keep that at bay at least for a little bit longer. As the rest of Delaware tries to get a couple of ultimates online, the Valkyrie is going to lead the charge for St. Peter's University. Coming into this encounter, but a good bubble stops the flashbang. The Deadeye going to have to get used there. Don't know if they forgot, but the Deadeye doesn't reload anymore. So that's just a completely lost ultimate for Blob, as Ice continues to cool the temperature of the arena by getting kill after kill on this Doomfist.
Oh man, yeah, Ice is really coming out on top right now, and a little bit of an unfortunate high noon there. And I'm really surprised that St. Peter's didn't go on to that point immediately. They allowed Delaware to at least cap a good 20%, and as we see, 60% in counting right now. St. Peter's has some really important ults coming in line right now, so Rez has to get that big grab to be able to continue to cap this point, but Boop has that beat ready at the base, so
yeah,
there it is. The grab comes in.
Immediately you see nothing even committed here from Delaware. They have the immortality field from Burnout, and that's all they have to put into the fight. The meteor strike coming out from Ice to displace and punish the aggression going into that Graviton makes it for Delaware an easy take. But for St. Peter's, you still have a bit of magic to work with here. You're gonna have a Blizzard online soon. You have the grab of your own. Time is just not in your favor. And pretty advantageous go there for Milk, able to find one into the back line. And that last minute Death Blossom, and with Burnout's amplification matrix on point, there's nothing St. Peter's can do. Delaware are going to take our control point here 2-1. And, you know, I don't want to say that Delaware necessarily looked a lot better. It just looked like St. Peter's had a bit of an issue with the backline threat.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what? They definitely proved me wrong. Ice coming in with the play of the game here, and really just, like you said, Shadow, destroying the backline of St. Peter's University. And I was very surprised. You know, these control points are very quick games. Time is of the essence to cap that percentage. And so to not even try to fight for that initial point for that third map coming in from St. Peter's, I have to say that was a big mistake, I would argue. It's one thing to kind of, yeah, definitely a gamble. It's one thing to kite back and then push in, but that was a pretty lengthy like reset. I did see that they did take some change outs coming in with that BAP. But again, the control points are time is of the essence for these points. Or map types, I should say.
You know, they wanted to back out, change their composition, and kind of, when it comes to control point, that first fight, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter too much. The second fight happens so quickly that as long as the other team is kind of equipped and ready for that engagement, then you have the upper hand and you can quickly win the point back, get your ult percentage back online, and then from there, snowball or keep your control. And that's what St. Peter's wanted to do. They saw what University of Delaware had on the field and said, we're not equipped to go against that. Let's go back. Let's try and get the composition that we need, and then we can overpower them. But the issue is that they just weren't expecting the play that Delaware brought to the table. The Baptiste with the amplification matrices multiple times, completely stopping pushes from St. Peter's. And it even got to the point where the ultimates that they did have, they just weren't being given the opportunities that they needed to have that pull off. So I like the fact that St. Peter's was malleable and had that switch, and going into maps like Numbani and Volskaya and Route 66. Those are all maps that you need to be an adaptable team. You need to be able to you know, figure out what the opponent has or is bringing to the table, and if what you have isn't working, it needs to be a quick change because there's snowball-heavy maps.
No, 100%. And Numbani, I'm pretty excited to see. We had a little bit of the dive coming in from both sides of the team, and that first point from Numbani is just such a vertical map. So I'm definitely expecting to potentially see a little bit of double bubble, maybe the ball diva if that's their favorite variation, or maybe just some good old regular monkey diva dive. So we'll see coming in. Hopefully they'll have a little bit more of a quicker start in. Delaware is looking the gameplay coming in for that last map was looking pretty clean, and I'm curious, especially since Numbani is you know, I would argue that there could definitely be some Doom play in if we'll maybe see that Doom coming again for that, especially for that first point on attack.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a Doom Fist, but I'm liking what St. Peter's is doing here. If you look up just underneath their name tag there on the right side of your screen, you'll notice that the DPS players are no longer playing DPS. So, sorry, they're on the blue side. DPS players are no longer playing. You saw Riggs on the Tracer last go around, Blob on the McCree. They're now on the tank side. They've swapped their tanks over the DPS, and this is something that we've been seeing with a lot of the EGFC teams. I know that Canisius College just recently did it, and then as well as William and Mary, you know, swapped their tank line and their DPS lineup, and it gotten them some pretty good results. So St. Peter's, I told you, they were a malleable team, already adapting by switching up the roles.
Ooh, yeah, and you know what? I do like that Torb coming in as well. This is a really good map on the defense for Torb. The ultimate can do a lot of damage, just trying to keep that space and control the point. So we'll see coming in, and maybe a hammer kill coming in. Well, who knows?
If we're lucky, we'll get the hammer kill, but luck is not going to be on the side of Delaware right now. Nacho's going to be able to find that opening kill onto Savix after a very aggressive push onto the high ground, and really just Delaware kind of testing the waters here, seeing how St. Peter's is set up on the point. Now they're aware of the Torb turret, the mobility of the Hanzo, and they've been able to kind of kite St. Peter's over to the left-hand side, so some extra room for their attack.
Oh, and there it is, the initiation coming in immediately.
Oh, and once again, Savix is going to get taken down, and St. Peter's University just seemed to have the number of Savix on the side of University of Delaware, not really giving them any room to use cooldowns once they dive into these situations.
Oh man, yeah, they're just getting pushed back consistently right now, and they've already been burned a minute and counting on the side of University of Delaware to get into this point. But you know what? We do have the Nano Blade coming in right now, so hopefully that'll be the green light for this. But St. Peter's already also getting those ultimates online as well, so it's gonna be a fight.
Yeah, Nano Boost is now online. You're waiting for Ice to get the Dragon Blade, but doesn't look like it's going to be needed as long as they can take care of Blob here on the high ground. Able to take a few members of St. Peter's out of the equation, but not enough to really gain true purchase. A good block on the charge so they don't die, but the Shatter's there just to make sure that you're sent back to spawn. And Delaware at this point in time allow St. Peter's University to feel greedy here. Let them use these ults kind of just out the wazoo for these solo shatters and come at them big with your own ult bank.
Yeah, 100%, because they have all the ultimates that they want and can have coming into this fight right now. And it is, I gotta say, it's all up to the Nano Blade coming in. Though they have that bomb to really displace and make people hide a bit. There it is, the bomb coming out to start it off.
Just gonna feed a lot of energy over to Riggs on this Zarya, so it's gonna be up to Ice on the Genji to get this done. As the Dragon Blade, late sound barrier comes through from Min Min, not gonna find any sort of purchase for Sellout Squad, but able to keep the Zarya alive for just a tad bit longer, and that Nano Blade mixed with the Primal Rage, exactly what Delaware needed.
Exactly what they needed, and a great play coming in from Bordy, taking out the Immortality Field out of the equation, and then just allowing Ice to do what he does, and slash on the Genji with the Nano on top. And you know what? We are looking pretty low in the ultimate bank for St. Peter's, but Rez has the Molten Core coming online here, which could definitely be a good ultimate to really burn the time down on the clock, and they have 3:23 counting. Yeah.
And Nacho's really bringing up the duel for Milk here. on this Echo. You can't take to the sky as an Echo with a McCree on the other side and not know that you're putting yourself into a bit of a difficult situation. So see how they're able to do so. Good flashbang there to stop Blob, but you know what? Blob's gonna do something. They're gonna get taken out by Solid Squad with a little bit of help. Riggs on this Zarya for St. Peter's University has done a stellar job of keeping their ground. And the time bank for University of Delaware just hasn't really gone anywhere. The bubble not gonna break in time, so the shatter will fall on deaf ears as Boop's rally gonna be putting University of Delaware into a good spot before that molten core comes out, but afterwards it becomes a little bit tricky, allowing the Reinhardt to swing freely, the Graviton even getting used by St. Peter's, and the hold is good with the ult economy now, relying heavily on the support ultimates.
Definitely relying heavily on there, but you know, University of Delaware does have that same combination as the bomb starts it off coming in. Ooh, and a pick already.
A good start. Solid Squad going down as well as Nachos puts you to a 4v6. You're feeling pretty confident about your situation. Ice has the blade and goes through the back door to make sure that nobody finds him trying to sneak away, but isn't able to secure the kill, gets pinned, gets taken down by Blob. St. Peter's University, now you're feeling really, really good about your ability to hold this corner. It's just a Brig out on the lone side ground, and that's not going to stop very much happening. Shatter is available for Milk, but don't want to commit it too early. Blob is going to throw that Shatter down, but is immediately killed.
Unfortunate. Sad day. But you know what? Dupe comes out, and two monkeys are on the point right now, primaling and juggling them around. Will this be enough to move the payload or defend it, though?
The payload's still moving uncontested, relatively, for University of Delaware through the second point, and very close to it, in fact. But a sound barrier from Minman's going to keep St. Peter's University not only in the fight, but it's going to put the Primal Rage online. And now Savix going to be putting that into the mix. See if they can't find a couple of boops and pushes to get some purchase for the University of Delaware on this attack. And Milk so close to the Deadeye. Self-destruct committed once again, but up to the high ground it goes, where it's not going to find any real purchase. Graviton is committed, but the defense matrix comes online just in time, but the defense matrix not able to eat up a hammer, so Blob's still going to find kills. And University of Delaware going to have to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, this is really good that they push back and kited back because we are in last fight territory here. Milk has the high noon, Boop has the rally. A rally will be a really good initiation to come online here, and maybe, hopefully Ice and Burnout will raise those ultimates to get that nano blade that they need, but Blob has the shatter. We've seen a big shatter before. We'll see if he's able to keep burning down this time.
And you can see the Winston trying to draw as much attention as possible there to the back line. The shatter goes through as the Deadeye gets primed. Deadeye getting shot, but oh, saved by the SUV. Rez not going to be taken victim to the Deadeye, so it's not going to find any purchase at all. Into the air it goes for Milk, has to find some sort of purchase onto somebody, lining up the headshots onto the sleeping Torbjorn, and able to find a couple with the tanks. St. Peter's University still keeping purchase in space here on the point. It's up to Riggs and Nachos who are finding kills for St. Peter's University of Delaware, now down to a 3-man squad as St. Peter's looks to hold strong here on the second point. Just the hamster there for the stall, back as quickly as possible, but gone as quickly as they came. University of Delaware are going to have a stellar defense to defeat St. Peter's.
Oh man, I thought they had it there, especially with, you know, Milk on the high ground and just taking shots as he leisurely pleases, but it just wasn't enough. St. Peter's just consistently got the damage or had those ultimates at the ready to keep it in their favor. And a really great place that they were able to hold it, not even allowing to cap the third point, and not even second point right before it, which was actually a really good place to halt it since there wasn't any sort of spawn advantage for University of Delaware, especially with that second point. The spawn advantage, or the spawn is so far away on the defensive side that they ended up bringing it into their advantage. So great hold coming in from St. Peter's, and we will see if University of Delaware is able to play as well as a defense to keep the map in their favor.
Yeah, it's definitely not over. The Streets phase with these dive compositions that have been kind of emerging, you get a little bit of extra freedom and a lot more hold time, as the stalls can be elongated pretty well, and in those dive compositions really do utilize the verticality of the map very well. But for St. Peter's, You go this brawl because your method here is just to burn University of Delaware down. You've been able to out-survive them in a lot of situations. Solid Squad and Min Min have been doing a really strong job on the support line.
So true. Yeah, they want to press the W, and they got the support lineup to really support that initiative to just go forward and burn.
And this is the pick battle for Nachos, where they build up as much free damage as possible for that Graviton. The win condition for St. Peter's, of course, the Grav Dragons, as there's no Baptiste alive for University of Delaware. Just have to be careful as long as Burnout isn't able to build up that Transcendence. Good tactic here from Savix to drop down from the high ground, but not use the escape at all to use the cooldowns. Still able to go up and recontest as the early kill comes through under Riggs from Bordy. Delaware is going to prove to St. Peter's University that they at least have an inkling, they at least have a bit of an idea on how to hold here on Noombani, so St. Peter's aren't going to be able to grab this for free. However, they've got enough purchase to where the Shatter should be online relatively soon for Blob on this Reinhardt, as well as the Dragons for Nachos.
Yeah, we have quite a bit of ults coming in favor, but Savix is ready to use the Primal immediately coming in.
Oh, important to get behind them so that you can boot them off the high ground, but a big flashbang comes through. Looking to work a couple people through the hallway, but doesn't need to as he puts them through the wall. A big play here coming through for University of Delaware. And can I just mention that Ice was at, I think, 55% to the Dragon Blade? And through that Dash Shuriken combo, built up 25-30%.
Oh my goodness, yeah. They just, you know what? Especially with the composition coming in for St. Peter's, University of Delaware was just set up in their favor right there. Savix was ready, and he did the play that he needed to, but St. Peter's do have ultimates in their favor. Hopefully those will be the green light as they're going to go under. Hopefully this will be a little bit more of a surprise than going up top as they brawl it out here.
And a key thing about going under is the other team cannot know that you're going there with them. So as they figure that out, University of Delaware are able to make the rotations needed to eliminate the main tank and send Blob back to spawn on the Reinhardt. The Dragon Blade doesn't find purchase, only ends in death there for Ice, but still good enough to keep the push on halt for St. Peter's University as they're stuck here in the underground. Not the best place you want to be. It's not really creative on how you're going to be emerging from that. There's only one door for you to go through, and you're going to be doing so into a Transcendence and a Tactical Visor.
Yeah, it's going to be very similar to going up top right now. So they're in a little bit of a pickle, and so we'll see if they're able to go out. But the grab comes out. Hopefully that'll be enough for them.
Graviton there to kind of help Nachos get a pick if they can, but the Transcendence comes out early from Milk to make sure that that doesn't happen. Tactical Visor as well going to be spent and not going to find too much fruition, but a big anti-nade from Boop puts University of Delaware back into contention as Rez falls low and dies. Blob once also very low on health as Ice takes them out of the fight, and University of Delaware able to bring back a little bit of hope here as there's only 55 seconds left for St. Peter's University to get something working, and they've only been able to secure that first hit.
You know, we talked about at the beginning of the map, Shidle, that this is a very vertical map right now, and St. Peter's University has a very grounded composition coming in, and University of Delaware is set up on that high ground, Milk taking the damage that he needs, and we have another Nano Blade coming in right now. Hopefully Nachos is able to get this Blossom off, but it's a hard fight coming in with a ground composition team, and when everybody's set up on the high ground.
Yeah. You get the benefit of the Death Blossom into the Immortality field, but realistically, the majority of Delaware are going to be in the air and such. So maybe you see the Death Blossom to try and counter out the Death Blade or the Dragon Blade, but they've got that sound barrier to keep themselves alive for a little bit longer. Now Notch is onto the high ground, is able to find purchase onto Burnout, so taking out that Zenyatta means there's no Transcendence there to keep your Death Blossom from finding purchase. The rest of the kills for St. Peter's will come through. They'll take the point, but University of Delaware have a lot less time to defend here in the streets phase.
You are completely right here, and you know what? Min Min had to save the team with his feet, and they were able to save the team, and that was the winning play, allowing St. Peter's University to cap this point coming in. We will see if University of Delaware is able to hold it off with Savix's Primal again. Not a close door anymore like we were once upon a time, but I do like the fact that they're taking the space up to try to get as much space as they can.
Getting space is a good thing, but giving away a little bit too much isn't what you want, so glad to see St. Peter's University backing out after losing their Reinhardt. Going to allow them to not give out too much ult charge over to University of Delaware, who's already coming up on a good number of ults into the next engagement. But for St. Peter's, it's going to be connecting those in the perfect fashion, and Reaper into the back line forces out the Transcendence, so that's not a loss.
Yeah, that's a big play coming in for University of St. Peter's University, especially having the grab now. This is a free grab right now, Scheidel.
Oh man, talk about a free grab. It's also a free shatter. St. Peter's taking advantage of the aggression shown by Delaware there in that moment off the back of Milk's tack visor. But the nano boost was already committed, so Ice isn't going to have that to back them up here on the blade. And St. Peter's still have a Death Blossom as well as a Deadeye, and there's not much farther for the payload to go.
Oh, nobody was on it. Unfortunate. But the win for New Body will go to St. Peter's University. Man, I'm a little surprised there, Shadow, that New Body is such a vertical map, and St. Peter's University won with a very brawl-style map coming in with the Rhine Zarya. Especially since University of Delaware had the more ideal composition coming in, and I mean, as we saw here, Savage just going in really hard with that Primal. But St. Peter's University making it a 1-1 as we head over to Volskaya Industries, which is definitely more of the brawl comp that they seem to like. So I'm sure that they're excited, and I'm curious if they'll see we'll still see the DPS tank lineup swapped.
Yeah, and with the brawl versus the dive there on Numbani, it really comes down to the fact that St. Peter's was able to kind of force Delaware to fight where they wanted, and that dive composition is really, really good on the verticality of Numbani, but if you equip a brawl composition with the right tools to effectively pick them and whittle them down, it's completely fine. So you have the Reaper who's able to get into the back line and cause a disturbance to the healers so that the diving tanks and everybody else don't really have as reliable healing. And then you have a McCree who's able to kind of sit behind the shield, sit with the Zarya, sit with the healers, has that stun, has that stun, and can also dish out a good amount of damage at range.
So true. So true. But folks, you know what? We are going to take a quick break here. Go grab your popcorn. Go grab your drinks, because we are in it for the next map. 1-1 ending it with St. Petersburg and University of Delaware, so don't miss the action in the next couple minutes.
Welcome back, ladies. Excuse me. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we have a bit of a barn burner on our hands between St. Peter's University and University of Delaware. And this is nothing that we didn't suspect. These two teams very close in records as far as skill goes, and who they've beaten, who they've lost to. It's a pretty similar record across the board. But You mentioned about how University, or sorry, St. Peter's University didn't really look like they had the composition they needed when it came to Numbani, but they were able to force University of Delaware into their play style. And going into Volskaya, that's a talent that really affects how well and what at all the opposing side can play.
No, you're completely right. And you know what? I was just thinking if maybe St. Peter's University's strat to, swap that tank and DPS lineup just played in their favor. I'm curious if they'll continue it onto Volskaya Industries. It worked to begin with, and who knows? Maybe University of Delaware, University of Delaware will see that worked, and they might want to try their hand at it again. Like you mentioned, it seems to be a trend coming in with the teams this evening. So who knows? We'll see if that happens with University of Delaware or continues to St. Peter's University.
Yeah, I definitely expect St. Peter's to kind of keep the switches that they've made. Those 4 players really, really good at playing both of these roles, and it kind of situationally flows in and out of who is kind of the best for that spot. But yeah, so we're gonna see Bordy and Savix. They will be going back over to the tank roles, and Milk and Ice are going to be switching over to the DPS roles once again. Not too surprised to see that. But it looks like for University of Delaware, Riggs is going to be staying on that tank role and Blob on that tank role as well. So yeah, so St. Peter's not really want to mess with the equation. Rez and Nachos have been doing a pretty good job on the DPS role. And
yeah, 100%.
I'm not mad at Blob and Riggs right now on this defense, but a good double shield is going to be coming out from University of Delaware.
Yeah, and again, that Torb, we didn't see the hammer kill last time around, so we'll see if Ice tries to find that hammer kill that everybody loves in the Overwatch community. But good damage coming in from Nacho with those sticky bombs potentially.
Just getting a lot of information on where University of Delaware is positioned, so now it's going to be up to Milk to really keep that Echo at bay. Gets a little bit of help from the main tank, so the res is going to have to get committed from Min Min. Milk, however, still feeling pretty confident here on the high ground. Has to back out just a little bit as you see the second shield moved over to the middle of the arena, and that's just so you can keep track on the rotations that St. Peter's is trying to bring to the table. Now that Roadhog splitting out the Torb, you're on Ice into a very, very tricky, or I should say slippery situation as Nachos takes advantage of a bit of the chaos, dipping down and making sure the head is looking to the ground so not to get caught out by a headshot, but Bordy continuing to be a bane to the aerial threats that St. Peter's is bringing to the table. Takes Min Min out of the fight. There goes a second kill for University of Delaware, and they should feel pretty comfortable about their hold as long as they don't use anybody on the exit frags.
Yeah, and you know what? I really like this positioning coming in from University of Delaware. They're really setting up high ground here, especially works very well with... Oh, what?
That's not nice, Riggs. That's not nice.
Man. You know what? I gotta say that might have been better than the hammer kill. So kudos to Riggs, and he goes and changes to the Winston that will form that double bubble.
And this is gonna allow for St. Peter's to have a little bit more entry. As long as the Winston can get onto this high ground without using cooldowns, they're gonna have a pretty big opening, but not without the sellout squad. Pretty big kill there from Boot. Burnout gonna find a kill as well, and Delaware doing a really good job of kind of dismantling what St. Peter's is bringing to the table, but if they can keep Riggs hidden for this next push, it's going to be a huge play.
Yeah, but Sigma's coming under, and they are found out!
Yeah, they're going to have to commit themselves into the fight, and with Bordy having this gravitic flux, they're all kind of caught into a small room. The Zarya bubble already been committed, so they'll kind of just take advantage of whoever it might be at that door, but they're not even going to hit the ground. Burnout going to help out with the kills, and University of Delaware obviously practiced on their defense here at Volskaya, not willing to let anything that St. Peter's University has get through the cracks.
Oh man, yeah, but you know what? St. Peter's University has all the ults in the world coming in right now, but Burnout has the trans coming into play, so they're gonna have to have one of these ultimates be that bait out, so Blob could potentially get that big grab that they're hoping for, to have that be the green light to push in, but we've seen Milk's Bobs, and they are quite deadly, so, oh man, and the 2 kills coming in favor of University of Delaware. Potentially another reset.
And this is just coordination with Savix right now. You know, it's just Milk and Bordy combining along with Burnout to throw out massive amounts of burst damage into these halts. And it's causing a huge issue for St. Peter's University. And a late echo comes through from Nachos, possibly looking to switch, maybe just kind of hoping to get an exit frag if possible, but not going to work out.
Yeah, that would have been ideal to get that pick onto the Ashe, you know, having Bob eliminated from the picture for that next fight. But you know what, at least they did bait out the Transcendence, so we are at least able to get that damage without, you know, having that potential with the Transcendence to protect the University of Delaware.
Yeah, Nachos is going to be switching over to that Hanzo to give a little bit more of a distance threat, but line of sighting this amplification matrix is pretty much your only option for St. Peter's University, and that's going to give Delaware a pretty good position here on the point. The dive's going to go through. The Primal Rage is online, and there's a lot of people next to the edge. There goes the initial kill, the boop onto the Zenyatta, barely able to save themselves onto the map, but it's just going to be one more boop and you're done for. Looks like the rest of the support line for University of Delaware is going to have a bit of an issue running away from Riggs on this Winston, and you know, you get it in overtime. That's about the best that you can hope for. As far as the University of Delaware, you know, you can either get that hold, which, you know, of course, that is the dream scenario. But if you give it up, overtime's the best time to do so.
And you're completely right, because you know what, coming into that second point, University of Delaware have the advantage, that spawn advantage of just so, you know, that's gonna force St. Peter's University to make sure that they have a team wipe, which could definitely be pretty hard, especially in these high elo. You know, they definitely, oh my goodness, how brutal coming in with that kill on Burnout, Shadow.
Yeah, Tropic, it's a different place to come back from. Your Zenyatta's there. He's almost got the Transcendence up and gonna have to switch over to the Brig, so you have a little bit more survivability on the point. But for St. Peter's, you feel really good about that. You got some early presence in, you got to build up a good amount of ult charge, and you forced the University of Delaware to commit defensive ultimates into that.
No, 100%. And you know what? They have quite a bit of, you know, blob. Knowing that they have a free ultimate coming in, as long as they get Boop's immortality, that can be a win condition that they need right now to get some time in their time bank for the next fight. You know, Grab Dragons is a very powerful ultimate combination.
Oh, no.
There it is! Ooh!
Yeah, it's more than just a powerful ultimate combination. It is a win condition in its own right. So 2 members down now for Delaware. St. Peter's are able to walk through a pretty much open door onto the point. But Ice is here to shut that door closed. Red's going to fall to the turret. Savix getting a lot of healing and dishing out massive amounts of damage on this. Orisa almost has the supercharger online for their team. I'm going to go ahead and commit that up alongside the amplification matrix, so anybody sitting on the other side of that window is going to be dishing out massive amounts of damage. But a Primal Rage from Riggs is going to counter a lot of it and just kind of tank it away on the body. A critical health. Savix is going to keep things alive right now for University of Delaware as Nacho tries to keep the flank alive on the attacking side for St. Peter's University. Trying to deal with this Torbjorn on the flank, but hasn't been able to find and land those final shots until just now. As the kills come through for St. Peter's University, the control percentage will tick up, and the respawns from University of Delaware are going to be crucial here in what it could possibly be last fight territory for the defense. Respawn's now committed to the fight. The TNT isn't going to find any damage, and the Graviton's going to bottle up all of the members of University of Delaware for easy pickings for St. Peter's University.
Oh man, yeah, and that looks like that is going to be the final kill in favor of St. Peter's University as they cap it with 46 in the time bank, which is pretty ideal. You know, it's University of Delaware. I'm sure that they're at least happy that they got under that minute mark, so they won't get any extra time in the time bank. But you know what? Now they're forcing the hand that University of Delaware has to get both points. And in an ideal world, with some time bank in the clock to be able to fight for next round coming in. But what a strong offense like coming in from St. Peter's University, struggling there at the very beginning, but then that snowball in the end, capping it with, you know, they had a couple minutes in the bank and they still have some time left over.
Yeah, they just had to bide their time until they could get that Primal Rage up, exploit the positioning of Delaware, and get themselves a bit of point position. So for Delaware coming into this situation, you need to make sure that you're prepared for anything and everything, because they're probably going to bring a Torbjorn here. It's pretty standard to have a Torbjorn on this first point of Volskaya, but the real issue is going to be the fact that Blob and Riggs on that Sigma and Orisa duo when it came down to it, have been extremely strong, and the healing coming out from St. Peter's University has been nothing less than superb.
Whew, yeah, you are completely right here. You know, St. Peter's University dishing out the same thing that University of Delaware did to them. So we'll see if they're going to struggle as much as they did, or if they have a plan in hand with maybe utilizing these May walls coming in from ice to make St. Petersburg University play where they want to play. So we'll see.
Able to avoid any real big damage on that first peak, so that'll get them into this stairwell pretty safely. And since St. Peter's aren't running any mobile characters, they're going to have to give up that area of high ground and rotate to the other. But a very quick move from University of Delaware is going to put them into a decent situation. However, I can't go without saying that rock, perfectly placed from Blob, is going to knock members off the high ground and into the icy waters. And St. Peter's are going to be able to take this away. But University of Delaware with a really solid rotation. A lot of information was gathered, and I feel like they're well equipped to come at them here in the second push.
Oh man, yeah, what a gnarly rock coming in from Blob. But you know what? Savix is already ready to use that shatter. I'm sure he'll get it mid-fight coming in. And I do like that rotation, like you said, Shadow, coming up to the top ground, meeting them at that high ground place. And you know what? Savix is the only one that has an ult online, so this could be the win condition for University of Delaware to take this point sooner than what St. Peter's University did.
And it's really going to require University of Delaware to win this pre-fight, force St. Peter's University into an engagement on the ground to where the Reinhardt can utilize that shatter, because you can see, you know, it has a high ult charge, but really has been relying fairly heavily on the fire strikes in order to find any real purchase. So they're going to go ahead and grab what free ult percentage point percentage they can off of the bat. And eventually St. Peter's will be forced to drop to the bottom. There they go. Both tanks dropping, but the Baptiste staying on the high ground. The Immortality Field and Window of Opportunity have all been committed, but the May Wall going to throw a bit of a wrench into the works there. Rest of the team for St. Peter's University struggling to keep the contest alive, but it's going to be University of Delaware not only taking the point, but they're going to be walking to the second point with a sound barrier waiting in the wings, as well as a Graviton and a Blizzard from Ice and Board.
Whew. 5 minutes as well, but you know what? Nachos has that Bob coming in for the defense. I'm sure that'll be used as University of Delaware has those key ultimates and just want to snowball in here.
Well, St. Peter's is going to take advantage of the impatience, if you will, of University of Delaware and find a really, really big key kill on that Gravitic Flux, as well as what's to follow University of Delaware, just trying to get their members in there, die quick, get back to spawn. We'll see how this goes.
I wouldn't be too mad if I was on University of Delaware right now, because that is a big ultimate coming in. Flux being out, but you know what? Blob does change to the Reinhardt to match the Zarya coming in, but University of Delaware still has some big win conditioning ults. Bordy with Ice, those two combinations, if the team is able to collapse and take those pickings, could be that win conditioning green light that they need.
Yeah, this is definitely that situation similar to that first control point of, you know, let's change up our composition regardless of what's happening in the game to try and fit what we think is going to go best. And that's going to put them way on the lower end of ult percentage, but that's okay because Nachos is here to click heads. And that's exactly what's happening. Nachos continuing to find these kills on the University of Delaware. And greedy they get. Blob getting very deep, has to kind of work up and build up that ult percentage again as best as possible and as quickly as possible, but gonna give away a lot.
Ooh, getting a little greedy, but at least they have the spawn advantage coming in their favor right now. Quite a bit of ultimates being utilized from St. Peter's University though, but Min has that Bell. Bell could definitely be a good engagement ult coming in to blue beam everybody and get those ultimates charged. Milk having that high noon though, that could be deadly if he's able to get a pick, but I'm sure he'll just utilize it as just an initial pick and green light for the team to push on the point.
Well, there's the amplification matrix, so they definitely want to commit the Deadeye, but not able to do so. The roll comes through, Deadeye into the back, it looks like possibly. Immortality Field is baited out. The Milk's gonna get taken down by the turret before they can find any real fruition to it. There goes the Fire Strike. Isn't going to find any purchase at all. St. Peter's going to be throwing the shatter into the wall, so a big play now as the kills come through. Bordy going to commit the Graviton, able to find a few members of St. Peter's University as the amplification matrix is there to keep them alive, as well as dish out a lot of damage from Nachos. And St. Peter's University doing a good job on this defense of keeping their ultimates in preparation for what Delaware has.
Oh man, yeah, you know, those are some really big ult lineups coming in from Bordy. A big grab, but you know what? sellout squad, just keeping the team alive, Immortality up and ready, and you know, I gotta hand it to those healers coming in from St. Peter's University, just really sustaining the team through these barrage of ults that University of Delaware are putting them through.
And with what Delaware has online, they definitely have what they need to take the point. Just need to be careful of the Bob, and you know, Reinhardt can't really peek this corner without getting targeted down by the turret, so a bit of a tricky situation. The Blizzard comes out along with the Molten Core to deny any sort of entry to the point. Bob onto the field, but he gets taken out quickly. The Deadeye from the back from Milk was able to find one, but the kills still are coming through for St. Peter's University, and Delaware, although they committed a lot, not able to make it all happen.
Oh man, you know, the once 5-minute time bank has now whittled down to 1 minute and 30 seconds. Coming in, we are approaching like second to maybe 2-5 territory coming in if they're able to speed it up a little bit. Savic's coming in with that shatter, so if they're able to get enough, that could, you know, give them the green light to push in, and Boop is ready for the grab coming in from Riggs on the St. Peter's University side.
Yeah, the Sound Barrier at the ready there. The Mei Wall gonna help mitigate a little bit of damage. The Shatter's still online, and we're gonna see Boop already commit that. Oh no! The Sound Barrier got committed as well as the Shatter. The Shatter gets blocked, but they're able to block one in return, so still on good footing as the kills come through for Delaware. St. Peter's gonna have to work to stall out as best as possible with 4 seconds left on the clock. Respawn advantage, like we've said, in favor of St. Peter's University, so any pick here counts in a big manner. But the point present that Delaware already has is pretty insane, and Riggs not able to get onto the point for that last minute contest.
Oh man, and you know what? That was such a big grab coming in for St. Peter's University. You know, we saw them at that exit, just waiting for that communication coming from the team. Should I go now? Should I go now? But it ended up just being a little bit too late there. But wow, what a take coming in from University of Delaware. Getting those key picks that they needed and ending up with 2 seconds less time, but just enough to where it's almost about even. They both got 1 minute roughly to hopefully cap as many points as they're able to, coming from Volskaya. And we did see that both teams did struggle a little bit more on the attack side versus the defending side. So we'll see how they do with the attack side having such little time in the time bank.
Yeah, and for University of Delaware, this comes down to kind of throwing a kink into the mix on both your attack and your defense, because St. Peter's University isn't bringing anything really fancy to the table. They're playing very meta, they're playing fairly predictable, to the point where they're just kind of whittling you down, waiting for their ultimates, and then using those effectively. They're not playing anything extraneously different that's going to cause a ripple into the normal go of things. So for Delaware, you need to be able to kind of bring some sort of surprise factor in, whether that's Boot being an aggressive Lucio or Ice being really aggressive on the Mei and finding themselves a good freeze. They're going to have to bring something different to the table, because right now St. Peter's University has a really good feel on this brawl composition.
Ooh, yeah, you are 100% there. They are just continuing to brawl it out on the point right now, just trying to get those ultimates up. But you know what? Blob almost has that shatter shuttle.
Yeah, Blob may almost have the shatter, but does get portioned off by the Mei Wall. The immortality field there is keep them alive so they can keep swinging. Shatter now online, looking for a big one. Able to land a couple of members, but not too many. Ice able to take Min out of the fight completely. So St. Peter's University are down a healer as Boop takes out the main tank, and now Delaware looking to be in a bit of a tricky situation. As long as they can stabilize, Boop and 40 finding kills, they'll be able to keep themselves in this fight. St. Peter's on their defense here are going to have to give up a lot of space to University of Delaware, possibly the entire first point. The first point entirely, indeed.
Definitely going to be the first point, and you know what? If I was University of Delaware, I'd be very happy right now. They have quite a bit of powerful ultimates in the bag, which means that they have to make those plays to be able to cap this point and utilize those ultimates properly, especially since Min is nowhere near that beat.
Yep, there goes the Shatter. The Mei Wall going to make it a difficult endeavor for Savix, but still going to commit that ultimate. They almost have the Graviton from Bordy, and the Deadeye from Milk is now online. Not going to be able to commit it, however. Blob's still in their face, as well as Bob, so St. Peter's University going to have to take first point and find a little bit of purchase on the second point. But all that University of Delaware has to do is stop them in that 1 minute push from taking the point.
And you know, we have to remember that St. Peter's University, cap that first point with no time left at all. Whereas, you know, University of Delaware had a little bit more success on the attack, having that 5-minute time bank. But St. Peter's University also had a successful snowball coming in once they capped it. So we'll see if they're put in that same position. And like you said, Shadow, you know, having such little time, they have to have the mentality that they have to make plays. Plays have to happen to be able to have a leg up and you know, get those picks and get the green light for the team to just press the W and collapse on the point.
Yeah, and for that you're really looking at Rez for St. Peter's University to have a pretty big effect on this next fight. The May walls are going to be key, as well as Nachos, who I heavily expect to go over to the Ash to kind of help locate and deal with that Torbjorn turret to take that out of the arsenal that Delaware has to offer.
Oh, going in with the McCree.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It means the fights are going to be a little bit closer, but it's still the same effect of what Nachos is going to be getting done.
And you know, the difference I see is that University of Delaware is holding on that same high ground that they did previously, which really had St. Peter's University struggling. So I'm hoping that they're able to, you know, after playing initially, solution that, you know, taking that high ground away from the last experience.
Well, there goes that initial information about where they're kind of sort of holding, but you can tell St. Peter's a bit hesitant to commit coming out of this low ground area because they're not quite sure what their rotation is going to be just yet. Rotation does ensue, and down to the low ground goes the majority of University of Delaware to make sure that they're not going to give up any sort of free point percentage, as you saw St. Peter's previously do. The Maywall comes up to make sure the Zenyatta can't commit to the fight, but the Maywall's going to go down pretty quickly as Bordy is able to find a kill on a sellout squad for St. Peter's University. That's bad news bears. You've lost one of your main heals, and back into the fray you go. Blob's going to fall as well as Bordy able to find 2 key picks. The Maywall goes up and the freeze goes on to the horse, but she's able to keep herself alive. The Orisa out of the fight and into the healing pads is Milk. Hopping up onto the high ground and out of the death zone of Rez. He's just sitting there in that ice block. Not long for this world. As Delaware look to put this to a 2-1.
Oh man, yeah, that hesitancy coming in from St. Peter's University. You know, University of Delaware played it well. They were really unpredictable with their rotation, you know, causing some hesitance for St. Peter's University, and ultimately it worked out for them. St. Peter's University ended up chasing University of Delaware to the low ground, and not in a very organized manner, which really helped University of Delaware pick off those players that weren't in the more ideal position, you know, giving the map win to University of Delaware. So we need one more coming in from University of Delaware, but something tells me that St. Peter's University are not going to allow that to happen, and we might go to map 5 this evening.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't be surprised to see them take this the distance. But moving into Route 66, we move into another map very similar to Numbani, where the verticality of the map is still pretty important. The only difference is that as you get into that third point, verticality doesn't really become the strongest thing. That dive, not necessarily the strongest composition. The brawl does really, really well in those tight quarters. So for for Delaware, it's going to be a task of forcing St. Peter's onto that mobility composition, or if they're not going to switch, exploiting the fact that you have more mobility and use of the high ground.
That's true. And, you know, Route 66 is going to be similar to Havana, where you have that opportunity to hold at the very beginning, you know, that full court press to burn as much time down. So I'm a little curious if either of these teams are going to opt to do that. I've seen it where they're very successful and somewhat is not so successful, but it still allows the team to have that second opportunity to contest that corner, which could be a really good strategy. So we'll see if they opt to do that close hold.
It's possible. Against the brawl composition, it's not something that I would suggest, just because of how much ult percentage the Reinhardt and the Zarya are able to get off of those close holds like that, being able to kind of just duck in and out of spawn for healing and not rely as much on their support line, just kind of get some free swings. But definitely a strategy that you see come out here on Route 66, you know, hiding in that opening train car and just kind of surprising them to win that first fight. And like you said, if you lose it, it's not too much of a deal. The respawn timer does work out in such a way that you're able to get back into the fight at least one more time before you give up that first point. However, I feel like this is a place where the aerial battle is going to come back into effect. We're going to see the Echo again. We're going to possibly, I don't think we'll see a Far. I'd love to see one, but definitely going to be seeing the Echo.
You know, me too. I am a fan of the pharmacy, but it does look like they will be saying no to our dreams. But University of Delaware opting for that Sombra coming in on the attack. And you know what? Playing the Sombra, it's all about making sure that you get that EMP in a timely manner. I've seen games where we don't get that EMP in a timely manner, and it just really prolongs the fight because, in that team composition, we are playing for that EMP fight, and probably the combination with the bomb or the whole hog. So we'll see how they, if they're able to get the success, and it doesn't look like I'll get my full court hold as well. Sad day.
No, not in this matchup, but we're gonna get the fight for big girls as always. And the key here for St. Peter's University is keeping your shields alternated in a good fashion and make sure they don't get out of sync, because once they get out of sync, Savix and Ice are going to be on top of you. Well, they're already on top of you. There goes Savix getting into the mix pretty early on with the help of Boop. And able to get a good amount of fruition as Bordy grabs a couple of the stragglers dropping off at the top of Big Girls, pushes into the back with their Winston, and is able to find not another kill, but a lot of damage. Already at 35% to that Graviton and 100% charge on the Zarya. Savix here just positioning so they can get a really free, easy jump up into the back line. Yeah, off the back of Ice's damage, looking to get a kill into the support line, but isn't able to find it. Does die on the high ground, and now University of Delaware lose their main tank as Blob gets back into the mix here on the Roadhog. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to find the kill onto the Tracer, as Nachos has to commit the tactical visor for St. Peter's to make sure that the defense holds.
Oh man, yeah, definitely going to be a cleanup coming in, but University of Delaware already has that grab coming in from Bordy, as well as, and the EMP, we have all the ults that you would want coming in for an engagement, and all the key thing that we have to do right now is destroy that immortality build. Bait it to be able to, for the team to be able to hop on and take advantage of those key ultimates that really just group the players together, and also with EMP, just deny any sort of ability to get out. So that's going to be ideal. That's probably what, you're seeing Milk around, looking to get that EMP coming in here for the fight.
Looking for the perfect moment, just now coming back in from spawn. There goes the Graviton. Hack's still not going to be committed because it's not needed. Ice able to find 3 with a pulse bomb and a combination that, we haven't really seen much since season 1 of OWL. That big bang, that pulse bomb Graviton.
Ooh, yeah, Big Bang coming in and getting a nice healthy time bang, 420, and counting down here, and Milk still having that EMP coming, but Sellout Squad ready with the flail, with the rally. Oh, with the EMP!
Yeah, you can rally all you want, but if you can't escape or use your abilities, looks like you might be headed back to spawn. A big EMP coming through from Milk, sending everybody back out. Ice going through as well just to get a little bit of extra damage, try and build up this pulse bomb off the Roadhog. That heal definitely going to help to that extent. Shouldn't be too much difficulty for them to go ahead and get this ultimate up and online. So 84% to that Graviton. You have the pulse bomb online, which you can use really whenever you want. But a good ultimate combination up online for Delaware.
Oh man, yeah, and University of Delaware is just really taking this tempo by the hand with these ultimates and how they're utilizing it. Bordy ready, already with that Graviton. He is looking, and we'll see if he's going to get the sneaky Graviton right now.
Alright, so the call goes out that they've walked out of the hallway. And so now Bordy just kind of walks in behind him. There it is, a kill onto Nachos. Doesn't even have to commit the Graviton. The full song comes through onto Rez, but he's able to kind of dodge and dip just enough. As well as find the kills onto Ice and Tracer. Back into the fight they go with 14 health. They're going to get taken down by Savix as Delaware continues to have an upper hand here on Route 66. The dive composition just being a little bit too aggressive for the rest of what St. Peter's University is bringing to the table. And, Primal Rage plus a Roadhog, not going to be too great. You're stuck in a room. Anyone stuck in a room with the Primal Raging Winston is not long for this world.
And University of Delaware is doing a really good job at just getting quick picks immediately, just forcing St. Peter's University to consistently go back to spawn, regroup, or utilize these ultimates that they've been building not as efficiently as they want to. And Milk already having that EMP, getting a little bit of poke damage to get that up and running. But we got no support, no sort of defensive ultimates coming from University, St. Peter's University, for Milk's EMP once again.
Yeah, and there it goes through. They know that the McCree has the Deadeye, so they focus Rez out immediately. Burnout commits the Coalescence, which, even with shields, is a force to be reckoned with, and the kills are going to continue to come through for University of Delaware. And one of the issues for St. Peter's University so far has just been that their ultimates, they're not layering in the way that they should be. They're getting used in panic mode a lot of the time, and because of that, it's throwing off the rhythm of how they're able to kind of combat these fights.
No, you're completely right. We have these strong ultimates coming in. Blob having that Shatter, Riggs with that Graviton, but the initial picks coming in from University of Delaware is just throwing off the groove to be able to combine those powerful ultimates as they should be.
With the Deadeye from Rez, it's not really going to find anything, so Shatter from St. Peter's is going to be a big ultimate on the board. Question is, are they going to be able to commit it? Do they need to? Even in this situation with Min Min's Coalescence, they've been able to stabilize. Tracer into the back line, still going to be causing enough of a distraction for the front line to get a little bit ticked off as Riggs gets taken down. It's going to be up to Bordy to kind of keep things alive for University of Delaware here on the attack. Ultimates for St. Peter's University still online. They have the Rally and the Shatter, and that's a lot of deterrence. As Blob going to go ahead and commit the Shatter. It doesn't get anything from it. I wasn't sure if that was the Winston bubble or the Zarya bubble that blocked it, but isn't going to find any real fruition. So now really big weight on Nacho's shoulders to find a big kill with this Deadeye. Or sorry, with this Death Blossom. The Death Blossom not going to find anything, and the EMP now coming through from University of Delaware to seal the deal as the Graviton from Bordy bottles them all up and makes it a nice, easy kill for University of Delaware.
Oh man, yeah, and you know what? University of Delaware is just wanting this team kill right now, but they're not getting it as we have the Coalescence coming out right now. The spawn advantage is working in St. Peter's University right now, Shadow.
Just barely, and just for a little bit of time. Boop's going to have that sound barrier, which is going to put University of Delaware into a bit of a power position, where they can kind of fight without too much regard for their health bars, as they got so much extra back in their back pockets. And Blob right now working up to yet another Shatter, and one good Shatter from Blob completely changes the game for University of Delaware, but with no freedom to use it, has to commit it to stop the Coalescence. However, they're going to lose their life in the process, and only 3 members of St. Peter's are still alive here to keep this contest going. 1 minute, 17 seconds for University of Delaware, but they find the kills, they find the deterrence, and they find the point.
Oh man, yeah, you know what? But St. Peter's University did a really good job at burning down the time bank that University of Delaware once had. Once they had that spawn advantage in their back pocket, the stall game came out, and they had a fairly good stall game coming in. But we're going to see how they attack coming in, and hopefully they're able to get all 3 points to push it into a next round on Route 66. But we gotta see, they have University of Delaware has 1 minute and 13 seconds on the clock, so I'm sure St. Peter's University is hoping for at least a little over, some time in the time bank, if they're able to get to 3rd point.
And the key for St. Peter's, in my opinion, is getting to the 3rd point. Once you get there, true, I feel like you're going to be pretty strong with the composition that you're running. The issue is going to be how do you take this ball to the high ground, and how do you displace Delaware from this double shield without giving away too much to Milk and Ice.
That's very true. And we've seen how powerful Milk's Ash is and how quickly they are able to get that Bob, which, Bob is just such a powerful ultimate to, that is one ultimates that also controls the payload. Having that 7th player on the team, especially in a sticky fight where it's getting a little close, players are down. Bob's a really good ultimate to throw in there to keep the control, the point contested.
Look at how quickly Delaware is going to back out of that front Ash position from Milk, realizes immediately that the shield and the Zarya both going to make it extremely difficult for them to land shots safely, so trying to get back to the safety of those shields. However, Burnout not going to be giving any sort of quarter to the University of Delaware. St. Peter's University continues to try and push, but a 2-pronged attack where they have to hide underneath Earls makes it very difficult, especially because University of Delaware can contest the cart from the high ground.
Yeah. Very true here. And you know, pincering both the teams off from that high ground is really rough. Oh, but you know what? Kills are coming in favor of St. Peter's University right now.
Yeah, an early kill from Nachos is going to take out the front line, and that gives a lot of freedom over to the McCree for St. Peter's University, as they're able to kind of just pick and prod and select whatever they really want in that situation as far as kills go. And St. Peter's University, you can see, still trying to keep this alive, but Delaware, the Torbjorn, Ice, completely stopping them in their dreams. Wanted the hammer kill. Almost got it. Wanted the hammer kill. Yep. I saw it. I saw it.
Yep. Oh, man. He was ready. He was like, oh, Nachos is very low. I got this, but Nachos denied the hammer kill coming in. And you know what? Ultimate Bake is fairly low for both teams right now, but you know, we have Boop's Window, which could be a really good defensive hold coming in from University of Delaware. But Nachos and Blob have those powerful ults coming in, so if we see a big blob from a big shatter from Blob, that could be it. But no, Nachos already goes down, Title.
Yeah, Nachos getting immediately taken out of the fight. Blob's already put into a tricky situation where they're not able to swing or really be active in the engagement. Just has to kind of hold up shield and hope things turn out okay. Even chooses to leave the fight there at the end, and there it is. There's your kill. Ice gets Blob with the hammer.
But Nachos gets him back in the end, fighting for his friend.
you get the hammer kill, you get taken down, and then you get a turret kill to follow. It's okay.
My ultimate is ready.
That's true. I'm sure that Ice is feeling pretty good, especially since he has the Mullencar ready at the hem to also deny that space coming in. We are really coming into the last couple fight territory, and we have some big ults coming in right now. Sella Squad has to protect the team though for these ultimates coming in as we see them immediately.
Yeah, that Gravitic Flex to start things off to open it up for the high noon, but it's still not going to find any fruition except for Bob. So, you know, you don't get exactly what you want out of it, but you don't necessarily walk away empty-handed. And Ice getting a little bit greedy there, looking for another hammer kill onto the McCree.
You know what?
Delaware feeling pretty good about their defense right now.
Ice just wants Nachos at this point. He wants to kill Nachos so badly. Every time we've seen it, the hammer always comes out of Nachos, but Nachos right now is at that 3-0 for the duel coming between them. But you know, we are in last fight territory. Blob needs to get a shatter right now, Scheidel.
And for University of Delaware, this is where you get to shut the door on St. Peter's. If you can just stop this payload here and now. The Molten Core are going to get a good setup for that for University of Delaware as they find 3 kills. They may lose their main tank, but they've still got their Spunder, as Burnout has the Transcendence left alive. Zenyatta going to be the linchpin of the defense at this moment, as they just have to track a couple of slippery characters here on point. 13 seconds left. Respawns will be there, but St. Peter's going to have to be rushing on to the point now. Rez almost to that Death Blossom. Nachos to the Deadeye as well. The Shatter comes through, but doesn't find anything. Blob getting taken dangerously low as the Graviton from Riggs comes out and opens the table for Nachos. If Nachos can find the Deadeye, they might be able to keep themselves alive as the Transcendence from Burnout gets expended. But Nachos not in a position to do anything about the overtime ticker as they get taken down on their way back.
Victory.
Whew, and the map goes to University of Delaware, winning their last game of the season. So congratulations to University of Delaware on your win of the season, and great plays overall in the season. And there it is, Bordy with the big grab of the night, and the EMP to follow right there. Whew, man. What a combination.
What a combination indeed. And Delaware with a fantastic showing here today on how they played. And you can see how close it is in these teams in a lot of situations where, you know, St. Peter's definitely had they were completely controlling when it came to Numbani, but a couple of their maps definitely falling into University of Delaware's favor.
Yeah, especially with that Route 66 in the end right there, just especially on the attack side, University of Delaware just was really, they were very strong with controlling that tempo, and only in the end did St. Peter's University finally get their groove, finally get their, you know, take a defense coming in, but really strong plays coming in from both teams. But once again, congratulations, University of Delaware, on the last win of the season.
Yes, so we are going to be able to get an insight into the inner workings of the Delaware team here in just a moment. So stay tuned, grab yourselves a fresh bag of popcorn, maybe a soda or something of the sort. And we will be back after this break with an interview. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Shadow24 and Tropic Theory here to bring you this inside view into the University of Delaware as we have Ice joining us for this matchup. How you doing, Ice?
I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. That was a nice series of Overwatch that we just got to watch. Before I hand you over to Tropic Theory for, oh, she's over here. Tropic Theory for the hot deets and the inside looks. I just got to know the hammer kills on Route 66. You were real hungry for them, and you got one. But me and Tropic both want to know: are you still hungry for that kill on Nacho?
I mean, it wasn't about who I was trying to kill. It was about getting the kill, man, and just it's all about trying to assert that dominance and. Dying for it obviously didn't matter. They couldn't capitalize on it, so.
Well, there you have it.
Very true there. We definitely, everybody in the Overwatch community enjoys a good hammer kill. But getting down to the business, congratulations again on your guys' last win of the season. But, y'all are in the independent league. How are you guys preparing for that championship series coming next weekend?
We're just really focusing on us. We're trying to practice what we think our strengths are. Trying to just keep them greased up, ready to go, and just making sure we're comfortable with the maps that are coming up, regardless who we're playing.
Nice preparation coming in there. Independent, that league has quite a bit of tough teams up there. So I'm pretty excited to see everybody play for that. But on top of it, ending the season off, April 16th, the league championships coming in, and y'all are in the series. How are you guys gonna? Who are you looking forward to facing off in that last, league champion of the season?
Honestly, I couldn't even tell you who's in the playoffs. Like, we're just focusing on ourselves, making sure we get those W's. Like, at the end of the day, if other teams get W's, they're gonna play us later. That we'll see them later. We'll see who's coming up.
Nice, I love it. But to end it off, we want to go ahead and let you celebrate with the team. Big W in the end. But is there any shout outs you want to give tonight?
Yeah, I wanna shout out Bordy for getting 12,000 damage in one round on Route 66 attack. Just absolutely dumpstering those kids, man. Like, showing them who's boss. Wish he was here in the interview with me, but take him up for the team here.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Ice, for joining us. And like Tropic said, take our congratulations with you over to your team. And I'm excited to see what you guys bring to the Independent Championships as well as the league playoffs.
I'm excited to come back for the next interview since we'll win.
Have a good one. That's been